So back to that analogy for being unclean. It's like a dirty shirt covered in mud. The visible dirt represents the negative aspect or impurities that make someone or something considered unclean. Obviously, this is just an analogy, right? Teaching that we have all been walking around in dirty clothes, and there is only one right way to clean these filthy garments. You see, back in the day, there wasn't no washing machines and dryers. It was all hand washed. So we must allow the Father's hands to wash us and get all the hidden dirt and filth that washing machines is not capable of getting. This is still an analogy. By reading these two scriptures, and I have two more examples, by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every matter be established. But by simply reading these 2 witnesses, you should now understand that a dog is identified as something unclean. So we see someone that is walking in disobedience, irrespective of their nationality. Hebrew, those who are walking in disorder, those who are disobeying Torah, those are who are considered dogs. Someone who does not make a distinction between the clean and the unclean, whereby forsaking the clean, whereby forsaking Yah's righteous Torah. Indeed, Gentiles are referred to as dogs. Why? Gentiles reject the righteous Torah of Yahuwah for their own demonic, indecent beliefs. Hence, one who forsakes the ways of the Gentiles and who attach himself to the covenant of Yahuwah no longer is considered a Gentile, as we read in the 2nd chapter of Ephesians, and come out from uncleanness, and then begin to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean via Yahuwah's righteous Torah, and having been engrafted through Hamashiach, through the branch. Kafa makes the point here that, for if they have escaped the defilement of the world through the knowledge of the Master and Savior Yahusha, Messiah, in other words, if they have escaped the defilement of the Gentiles, and they are again entangled in them, in the ways of the Gentile, the unclean and overcome, the latter is worse for them than the first. For it would have been better for them not to have known the ways of righteousness. Because they won't adhere to the very instructions that to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. You see, they would rather adhere to the commands and the doctrines of man. They would rather adhere to the doctrines of demons than the instructions of Yahuwah, which is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path, which shines light on darkness, which shines light on sin, which shines light on uncleanness, and which teaches us to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. See, they reject this. Do not give what is set apart to the dogs, nor throw your pearls before the pigs, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you into pieces. And see, a woman of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, saying, "Have compassion on me, O master, son of Daud. My daughter is badly demon possessed." But he did not answer her a word. And his taught ones came and asked him, saying, "Send her away, because she cries after us." And he answered, said, "I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal." But she came and was bowing to him, saying, "Master, help me." And he answered, said, "It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs." But I understand the only reason that I'm reading this text again is to give you 2 or more witnesses on the fact that Gentiles are considered dogs, are considered unclean, because they do not make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. This foundation has been laid. I pray you gain some understanding of what a dog is and why a Gentile is considered a dog. And again, because they're considered unclean, because they won't make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. So the warning still goes forth. We must be washed. We must be washed. We must wash these filthy garments. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, this is the law of the Torah which Yahuwah has commanded, saying, speak to the children of Yasharal that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one, in which there is no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. And you shall give it to Eleazar, the priest, and he shall bring it outside the camp. And he shall bring it outside the camp. No. And he shall bring it outside the camp. Why must he bring it outside the camp? The garments have to be washed outside before being inside the house. The garments have to be washed outside before being inside the house. The reality indeed, early civilizations often found themselves laboriously washing clothes down by the local river. A tiring yet effective method still practiced in many areas today, where one can observe extensive washing taking place at a popular location. Let's keep reading. And shall slay it before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of his blood with his finger and sprinkle some of his blood 7 times toward the front of the tent of appointment. And the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns his hides, its flesh, and its blood, and its dung. And the priest shall take cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and throw them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. The priest shall then wash his garments. The priest shall then wash his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and often come into the camp. See, all things are in the Torah. The priest must wash his garments. What are we called? We are called a nation of priests, a royal priesthood. All things according to Torah. But the priest is unclean until evening. Why? Why is the priest unclean until evening? Because he has touched unclean things. Because he has touched a dead body. Not so much of touching it carnally, but what does it represent? Touching dead things, spiritual dead things, nevertheless. And he who is burning it washes his garments in water. He washes his what? He washes his garments in water, and shall bathe his body in water, and is unclean until evening. And a clean man shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Yasharal, for the water for uncleanness. For the water for uncleanness. It is for cleansing from sin. It is from cleansing from sin.